What if the biggest lie about wealth was precisely the one that almost everyone believes? What if working longer hours, sacrificing more weekends, and living a constantly busy life weren't the path to financial freedom, but rather one of the most efficient traps ever created? While millions of people spend their lives chasing money, there's a small group that seems to attract opportunities, build assets, and accumulate wealth almost invisibly, without ostentation, without drawing attention, without needing to prove anything to anyone. And the most curious thing is that they understand something that most people have never realized. Machiavelli said that men usually judge more by their eyes than by their hands. In other words, people see appearances, but rarely understand the hidden mechanisms that produce results. While some flaunt financed cars, expensive clothes, and an apparently luxurious life, others are quietly building assets, developing rare skills, and accumulating economic power away from the spotlight. The difference is that the former are buying the appearance of wealth, the latter are building true wealth. Most people have been taught to believe that money is a direct consequence of effort, but the reality is much more uncomfortable. The market doesn't pay for how much someone suffers. It doesn't pay for how much someone sacrifices. It doesn't pay for the number of hours worked. The market pays for value. It pays for scarcity. It pays for impact. And when someone finally understands this rule, they begin to see opportunities that have always been right before their eyes, but remained invisible. In this video, you'll discover why some people manage to get rich without drawing attention to themselves, why hard work is rarely enough, how to transform skills into financial assets, and what silent principles true wealth accumulators use to build freedom over the years. Because there's a huge difference between looking rich and becoming rich. And those who understand this difference start playing a completely different game than most people are playing. The question is simple. Are you building wealth or just building the illusion of it? If something inside you awakened while listening, don't ignore that feeling. This channel isn't about videos, it's about memories. Remember who you were before the fear, before the exhaustion, before the silence. Each new video here is a different reflection of your own soul, an invitation to understand what the world never taught you. The power you seek outside has always been within you. If you feel that this journey speaks to what lives silently within you, sign up now, not to follow yet another creator, but to reconnect with something the world tried to make you forget. Because here, every word was made to heal, each reflection to awaken, and each video serves as a reminder you are not alone on the path back to yourself. Click on subscribe and turn the algorithm into a daily reminder of who you really are. There's a very popular idea that all it takes is hard work to get rich. It seems fair, comfortable, and even motivating. But when one observes the real world carefully, they realize that this belief rarely holds true. If effort alone were the answer, the richest workers on the planet would be those who carry heavy loads all day, work under the scorching sun, or endure exhausting work days. However, reality shows otherwise. The market doesn't reward suffering. The market rewards perceived value. This is one of the first lessons Machiavelli would understand when analyzing wealth and power. Politics guided by reality, not ideals, requires seeing the world as it is, not as we would like it to be. Many people spend their entire lives chasing money like a hunter, pursuing frightened prey. The more they run, the more tired they become. And curiously, money often seems to run in the opposite direction. This happens because there is a huge difference between chasing money and becoming someone money seeks. While most people focus their energy on working harder, few dedicate time to becoming indispensable. When someone understands the difference between scarcity and demand, a new world begins to unfold before their eyes. David Ricardo drew attention to something powerful. That which is rare and desired tends to be much more valuable. It's not the number of hours invested that defines the reward, but the difficulty of replacing someone who delivers a particular result. Leonardo da Vinci understood this centuries before any business school existed. He didn't present himself to the Duke of Milan saying he was a talented artist. First, he showed how he could build war machines, solve strategic problems, and generate concrete advantages. Only then did he mention his artistic ability. In other words, he understood true human nature. He knew that people pay to solve problems. The appearance of virtue was important, but practical utility came first. This logic remains alive today. A programmer who automates critical processes can earn more than dozens of people working manually. A specialist who solves a complex problem in an hour can generate more value than someone who works 50 hours without producing a relevant impact. Ultimately, there are only 3 reasons why someone receives money. The first is to generate profit. The second is to save money. The third is to save time. Almost every economic activity can be summarized in these 3 pillars. A salesperson increases revenue. An accountant reduces taxes. A developer creates systems that accelerate processes. A video editor transforms hours of work into minutes. This is why Cal Newport insists that skill comes before passion. Most people believe that they first need to find their passion and then develop competence, but the path usually happens the other way around. Competence generates results. Results generate recognition. Recognition generates satisfaction, and satisfaction often transforms into passion. It's a logic very close to the virtù and fortuna described by Machiavelli. Fortune may open doors, but it is virtù that allows one to walk through them. And when someone begins to develop rare and valuable skills, an even more interesting question arises. How much is a skill really worth when it solves a gigantic problem for someone? There's a famous story that every ambitious professional should know at least once in their life. When a huge Ford factory faced a problem with a gigantic generator, several engineers tried to solve the situation and failed. The equipment remained idle, generating daily losses. That's when they called Charles Steinmetz, one of the greatest electrical engineers of his time. He arrived at the site, observed the machine for a few hours, silently made some calculations, and asked for a ladder. Then he marked a single point on the equipment with chalk and instructed the technicians to make an adjustment exactly at that spot. The generator started working again immediately. Days later, he sent a bill considered absurd for the time. When questioned, he replied with something that became one of the greatest lessons about wealth ever recorded: $1 for making the chalk mark, the rest for knowing where to mark. This story dismantles the belief that time equals value. The market doesn't just reward effort, it rewards applied knowledge, it rewards precision, it rewards results. This is a vision deeply aligned with a politics guided by reality, not ideals. The world rewards those who solve difficult problems, not necessarily those who spend the most hours trying to solve them. Most people remain trapped in an invisible trap, trading time for money. The more they work, the more they earn. When they stop working, the income disappears. William Baumol called this phenomenon the cost disease. In many professions, income remains chained to the clock. A musician plays for an hour today exactly as they would have 100 years ago. A lawyer meets with a client for a specific period. A teacher teaches a class for a specific amount of time. Although there are exceptions, the problem remains. Financial growth is limited by the 24 hours available in the day. This is where one of the most important differences arises between those who accumulate wealth and those who merely survive financially. While some sell hours, others sell solutions. While some are paid for their presence, others are paid for their impact. Machiavelli would call this understanding the real rules of the game. The calculated use of force does not only apply to politics or war, it also applies to the ability to strategically direct knowledge to generate extraordinary results. Peter Drucker realized decades ago that a new class was emerging. He called them knowledge workers. They weren't people who produced with their hands, they were people who produced with their minds. Their main asset wasn't in a factory, an office, or a machine. It was inside their own heads. Today, this has become even more evident. An artificial intelligence specialist, a marketing strategist, a software developer, or an experienced investor can create gigantic impacts using only accumulated knowledge. This difference recalls a classic Machiavellian concept, the weapons of fortune and the weapons of virtue. The weapons of fortune are external circumstances, luck, fleeting opportunities, and factors beyond individual control. The weapons of virtue represent built competencies, developed skills, and capabilities that remain even when luck disappears. When someone depends solely on fortune, they live vulnerable. But when they build their own virtù, they carry with them an invisible patrimony that no one can take away. And it is precisely at this point that an even deeper question arises. Why do so many people manage to earn millions and yet end up poor a few years later? Few stories illustrate the difference between earning money and building wealth, as well as the trajectory of many professional athletes. For years, they appear on magazine covers, sign multi-million-dollar contracts, buy mansions, exotic cars, and live surrounded by an appearance of almost unquestionable prosperity. But then, something curious happens. A few years after retirement, many face severe financial difficulties. The money disappears as if it never existed. The problem is rarely the amount they earned. The problem lies in how that money was structured. There is a gigantic difference between possessing a pile of money and possessing a machine that continuously produces money. A pile diminishes every time someone withdraws a portion. A machine continues to produce, regardless of how many times it is used. Machiavelli observed similar phenomena in the kingdoms of his time. Rulers who depended solely on fortune accumulated temporary wealth. Rulers who built lasting systems maintained power for generations. True wealth is not just what comes in, it is mainly what continues to come in even when a person stops working. Imagine two people receiving exactly $1 million. The first wins this amount in the lottery. The second builds a small, profitable business that generates $100,000 a year. To an outside observer, both seem equally wealthy, but the reality is completely different. The first has money, the second has cash flow. The same reasoning applies when comparing cryptocurrency speculation with investments that distribute dividends regularly, or when comparing an extremely well-paid executive to a landlord. The executive may earn more today, but their income depends on their presence. The landlord, on the other hand, has built a system that continues to function while they sleep. This is precisely where decisions based on real human nature make a difference. The market rewards assets that continuously generate value. That's why Rockefeller developed an almost pathological obsession with financial control. He didn't just look at how much money he had. He mainly looked at where it came from, where it was going, and how he could transform each dollar into a new revenue generator. When someone understands the concept of operational leverage, they begin to see opportunities that were previously invisible. A teacher can teach 10 students in a classroom, but by transforming their knowledge into an online course, they can teach thousands. A writer can sell their time in individual consultations or transform their ideas into books, content, and digital products that continue to generate revenue for years. It's the same initial effort producing much greater results. However, there is a silent enemy in this process: Parkinson's law. According to it, expenses tend to grow at the same rate as income. The more someone earns, the more ways they find to spend it. A better car, a bigger house, more subscriptions, more luxuries and more financial commitments. Without realizing it, the person runs faster just to stay in the same place. That's why so many millionaires end up in debt. They didn't lack money, they lacked structure, they lacked discipline. They failed to understand that wealth is not an event, it's a system. And when this realization finally arises, a question appears that few people dare to ask themselves. After all, how much is the life they are trying to build worth? There's a question almost no one asks while busy chasing money. Most people ask how to earn more. Some ask how to invest better. Others ask how to accelerate results. But few stop to ask what the real price of all this will be. After all, wealth isn't built solely with money. It's also built with time, energy, relationships, and health. Many people reach the top of the financial mountain only to discover they've left important parts of their lives scattered along the way. Lost hours with family, abandoned friendships, neglected health, sacrificed sleep. And when they realize this, it's often too late to recover some of these things. Seneca warned about this trap almost 2,000 years ago when he wrote that poverty isn't about having little, but about wanting more. The problem isn't ambition. The problem arises when ambition ceases to be a tool and becomes a prison. Machiavelli understood that power required sacrifices, but he also understood the importance of constant adaptability. Those who don't learn to balance their resources end up becoming slaves to their own pursuit of freedom. The truth is that wealth buys something far more valuable than cars, watches, or mansions. It buys time, and that is perhaps the most precious currency in the universe. Time to choose where to work, time to decide who to associate with, time to take care of your health, time to learn new skills, time to build experiences that truly matter. That's why extremely intelligent people begin to practice what can be called time arbitrage. First, they delegate what they hate doing. Then they delegate tasks they simply don't need to perform personally. Next, they move on to transferring activities they do well, but that other people could also do. And finally, they reach the most advanced stage, delegating even parts of activities that seemed exclusive to them. An entrepreneur who hires an operations director, a doctor who sets up a clinic with other professionals, a content creator who builds a team. Little by little, time ceases to be sold and begins to be bought. This is a silent, almost invisible, but extremely powerful movement. Interestingly, many people believe that wealth depends on reaching millions of followers, tens of thousands of clients, or immense fame. However, the reality is often much simpler. Dunbar's number suggests that there is a natural limit to the number of meaningful relationships we can maintain. In the business world, this creates an interesting reflection. In many cases, 50 extraordinary clients are worth more than 10,000 indifferent clients. A lawyer with few premium clients, a consultant with recurring contracts, a highly specialized doctor, a content creator with a deeply engaged audience. They all understood something that most ignore. Sustainable wealth follows a logical sequence. First comes skill, then impact, next comes flow, and then, finally, freedom appears. Not the freedom sold in flashy advertisements, but the real freedom to choose, the freedom to say no, the freedom to decide your own pace, the freedom not to depend on fortune because you have built your own virtue. And perhaps it is precisely at this moment that someone realizes that the game has never been about accumulating money. The game has always been about accumulating options. If there's one lesson that runs through everything discussed so far, it's that wealth rarely arises from what most people observe. It doesn't come from excessive effort. It doesn't come from constant rushing. It doesn't come from a desperate attempt to earn more money. It comes from the silent building of valuable skills, the ability to solve important problems, and the intelligence to transform work into systems that continue to produce results even when you're not present. Most will remain trapped in the same cycle. Work more to earn more to spend more to need to work even more. A circle that seems like progress, but is often just movement. Meanwhile, those who understand the logic of virtu and fortuna begin to build something different. They invest in knowledge, they develop rare skills, they create assets, they learn to control their own time, and little by little, they cease to depend exclusively on their own labor to survive. Machiavelli understood that power belongs to those who see reality as it is. And reality is simple. Those who create value become difficult to replace. Those who become difficult to replace gain bargaining power. Those who gain bargaining power increase their income. Those who transform income into assets gain cash flow. And those who gain cash flow buy what money has that is most valuable: freedom. Now a sincere reflection is in order. If your income disappeared tomorrow, how long would your life continue to function normally? Do you possess assets or just a single source of income? Are you building true wealth or merely maintaining an appearance of prosperity? Are your decisions today bringing you closer to freedom or simply making your routine more expensive and harder to sustain? Perhaps the most important question is this: what skill do you need to develop in the next 12 months to become someone the market can't ignore? Because ultimately, wealth isn't a prize given to those who work the hardest. It's a natural consequence for those who learn to generate extraordinary value. If this video sparked any reflection in you, write in the comments what your biggest insight was during this conversation. I want to know which idea most impacted your perspective on money, work, and freedom. And if you want to continue learning about strategy, wealth, human nature, power, Machiavelli, and the principles behind the most successful people in history, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Because there are games that almost everyone plays, and there are games that only a few can see. The choice of which one you're going to play starts today.